Good evening. Can I ask you to take your seats? We'll be starting in about 5 minutes' time. Okay, so if you can take your seats, please. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our very, very first BHRUT Memorial Service. It's great to see so many of you here. This evening we're going to spend a time of remembering people that we loved, colleagues, family, friends, etc. Please make sure your phones are on silent or vibrate. And if you do need to use the toilets are at the back of the venue. And there is plenty of water. It's very hot in here, so if you do need a drink, please feel free to go and get yourself a bottle or a glass of water. My name's Reverend Philip Wright, and I'm the lead chaplain for chaplaincy and bereavement for this trust, and it's an honour to be able to lead us here this evening. But to start us with, I'm going to invite John to come up from MITRE to say a few words.
Good evening. My name's John Millis. I'm the Head of Patient Logistics for MITRE, working at King George's Hospital. It's an honour to be given this opportunity to pay tribute to two of our members of staff who are sadly missed. The first person I'd like to speak about is Chiranjit Bamotra, Charlie as she was known. She commenced working as a domestic cleaner at King George's on the 28th of February back in 2004. She dedicated years of service on Juniper Ward, and she knew everybody in the hospital and was loved by them all. Shortly afterward, her husband Shortly after her commencement, her husband took up a role as an X-ray porter, and when her son Harry grew up, he too became a porter at King George's Hospital. So it was a real family commitment. Sadly, Charlie passed away in September 2021, just 6 months after her husband, who unfortunately was one of the many people who contracted COVID-19. She will be missed by all. Secondly, is Tarlok Singh. He was known as Mr. T, and that's what he was fondly called by his peers and colleagues. He commenced his portering career at King George's Hospital on the 17th of December in 2001. He spent his early years in ED, and then he was moved to theatres due to his keen eye for detail. Mr. T was well-respected part of the portering team for 21 years before sadly passing away in December 2022 following a short battle with cancer. He was a local resident, so Queen's and King George's were his local hospital for him and his family. He took great pride in his work and was an exemplary employee. He always went over and above what was expected of him. On the day of his funeral, the hearse, followed by his family, made sure there was a procession through the grounds of King George's Hospital. This was met by many colleagues and friends who lined the road at KGH to pay their respect. This was his final journey to his place of work that he thought so much of. Again, he will be sadly missed. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'm going to ask Stephen, who's portering supervisor for Sodexo, to come and say a few words now.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Ajay. I am a portering team leader. I have been nominated by my managers to say a few words about a few of our colleagues who passed away in a few years. It has been said in the Christian Holy Book by the wise man that there is time for everything, a time to be born and a time to die. We at Sodexo, we add that there is time to meet new working colleagues and a time to lose them. We have always understood that we will not keep all our working force, and we have been aware that some will move on to new challenges. But the most difficult one, which we have never fully comprehended, is losing any of them to death. In the last few years, we lost two of our colleagues who left us with memories that will remain with us for a very long time. Edward Elcock, who started working with Sodexo on the 15th of August 2017 and sadly passed away on the 12th of December 2023. And David Konya, who also started working with us on the 17th of July 2018 and passed on to eternal rest on 21st of March 2022. Both Dave and Edward were two people of a kind, very caring, generous, and hardworking. They had a heart of love and made sure that their presence is felt by each person they encountered. They were arguably some of our most popular workforce in Queen's Hospital, and their popularity were exhibited at the time of their death. They did their work as though they were caring for their own relatives and would always go extra mile for the patient and other members of staff. Edward was dedicated to his work and never wanted to bother anyone with his personal issues, to the point after his death, we realized that he was working through his pains without making anyone aware. Dave started with Sodexo as a patient catering porter and moved over to patient portering, where his friendly and positive attitude was appreciated and seen by patients and colleagues. Both are missed by their colleagues within the hospital, and their presence is solely missed by all that knew them all. We once again say, Dave and Eddie, rest in peace. Thank you.
BHRUT is a very, very big ship. And when you've got a big ship, you need a larger-than-life captain to lead that ship. So I'd like to invite our CEO, Matthew Traynor, to come and say a few words.
Thanks, Phil. Hello, everyone. I'm Matthew. I'm Chief Exec of the Trust. We're here today to remember the lives of 35 of our friends and colleagues who we've lost in the last few years here at BHRUT. This is an opportunity to remember the contribution they've made to the life of our hospitals and the contribution they made to the lives of their colleagues and to our patients and to their families. I think at moments like this, we're grateful to have had them in our lives, and we mourn our loss and celebrate the joy they brought while they were with us. And when I think of some of the names on their list that we'll go through in a minute, I think about their compassion, about their good humour, about the skills they had, and about the joy they brought while they were with us and the brightness that they brought into our lives. And on behalf of the Trust and of the NHS, we thank them for their service. They chose to do something in their lives to help others and to make the lives of others better through their efforts. We also thank their families for letting them be part of our lives and letting them bring their skills and their abilities to bear in the work that we do in our hospitals, and we're very grateful for that. And those that we lose, they live on in our thoughts, and when we think of them, we bring them back for those few moments, and every time we remember them, they're still with us, as long as there's someone there to think of them. And I think we take moments like this to honour them and the contribution they made. We'll miss them all terribly, but our lives have all been better for having had them with us. May they rest in peace. Amen.
Thank you, Matthew. So we are here today to remember our loved ones and colleagues. All of us have experienced a loss in one form or another. Maybe it's your relative who has died. Maybe you are here to remember a staff colleague or just a friend. We have all felt the loss of someone special to us. Sometimes the loss has been expected. Our loved ones have been ill, poorly for perhaps a long time, maybe elderly. Not that makes it any easier to grieve. Or maybe the loss was sudden, unexpected. Our loved ones or colleagues were young, in the prime of their life, and they left young families and children. I would imagine we have all asked the question, why? Sometimes life seems so unfair, doesn't it? The pain is real, and the loss makes no sense at all. Being a hospital chaplain, I see trauma and tragedy and sadness most days. I do see joy and laughter, but it's fair to say chaplains see their fair share of tragedy. You would think that seeing this every day, dealing with this big question, why, on a daily basis, would either make me immune to loss or at the very least have an effect on my faith. There isn't a day goes by that I don't hear someone say, why has this happened to me? What have I done to deserve this illness? Or surely there can't be a God, he wouldn't allow this suffering. There isn't a day also that goes by when I don't think of my dad, who I lost 9 years ago. I'm reminded regularly because he died on Mandarin B, side room 9. I'm a fairly experienced chaplain. I've taken hundreds of funerals of elderly people, young people and children. Some of them have been joyous celebrations with hundreds of people, others just 1 or 2 people there. However, I want to tell you about a time when I just started out as a chaplain, and I wasn't prepared for a funeral that I took not long after I became a chaplain. I wasn't ordained. I was a lay chaplain working here at BHR. You see, it was the funeral of my friend Kate. She was 39 years old, and her and her husband Paul had adopted a little girl who was 4 years old at this point. Katie and Paul were excited as they were going to adopt another baby. The day before Kate was due to adopt her baby, she collapsed. She had a stroke and a brain hemorrhage. She was operated on, which seemed to work, but within 48 hours, she had more seizures and was kept alive by machines for a few days while tests were being done. But within a week, she had died. Her husband, Paul, asked me to hold her hand as they did brain stem tests on her, an experience that will live with me for the rest of my life. This was an extremely sad and traumatic story. The nurses in ITU were in tears. there was nothing good or positive that I could see about this situation. The suddenness of it felt so cruel. Kate was a paramedic. She devoted her life to helping and saving others, yet her life had been cut off at the age of 39. So to be honest, I wasn't expecting my own reaction when I took her funeral. It was the largest funeral I had ever been to, let alone taken at the time. And there were 100 paramedics lining the road into the cemetery, a parade of police and ambulances, and even the air ambulance flew by. The feeling in the room was immense with grief, and somehow I had to lead hundreds of people through the next 45 minutes of the service. We sang songs, we heard stories from Kate's friends, and of course, tears were flowing like never before. People were getting through it. Then I said something which I hadn't planned to say. It just felt like the right thing to say at that time. And I said this: as a minister leading us here today, as a Christian, as a hospital chaplain, and as Kate's friends, it makes no sense to me why she is gone. It seems totally unfair, and I cannot, at this stage, in my human weakness, understand it. It's just wrong. I have no idea if this is God's plan or even where God is in this tragedy. But, and this is the big but, I do believe God is with us, and he is in just as much pain as we are, and there to help us get through it and comfort us. And if you don't think God is here, then look around the room and feel the love, because God is love. It was those words that everyone told me as they left the service that meant so much to them. Being able to ask the question, why? I often hear people say to me, it makes no sense, it all seems so senseless and pointless. Whether it's your parent, your child, your friend, whether they are young or old, whether they have an illness or it's sudden out of the blue, the same words get said. It makes no sense. Why? You know we have every right to bang the doors of heaven, crying why for our losses, especially those that feel unjust or unfair. I think I banged the doors of heaven that day, mystified and angry. Maybe at God, I don't know. Sometimes emotions are hard to name. But also remember on what door you're banging. It's the door of heaven. Many people of faith, and many of those with no faith or belief, believe that heaven is a place of God's love and peace, his wonder, his beauty, and a place where he meets us. But more importantly, a place of hope. I know that a lot of people find comfort in the idea that there must be a reason. I know that because many people say that to me. And that's okay too. You will not be alone, certainly in the Christian world. If that is the answer to your banging on the doors of heaven, there must be a reason, then that's good. I can't say there is no reason because I guess that's for God to say. But I had to agree with all Katie's family and friends that day. I didn't understand it. The question why is like chasing after a balloon in the wind, something that is not easy and this side of eternity may not be possible. And there is a risk in that we can put all our energy, time and focus into something we will never know in this lifetime. It is right for us to ask the question why, even getting angry and banging on God's door if that's what you want to do. If there is a God, if God is God, he is big enough to handle our big questions, even if we're angry and upset. However, if we constantly search for that answer why, or continue to bang on the door, then we run the risk of allowing the question why to become a barrier, a brick wall blocking us from hearing and feeling love and compassion from those around us. The worst suffering is when we, for whatever reason, suffer alone. When we grieve in silence or alone. I believe God is in the midst of every human pain, and I believe that with all my heart. As a hospital chaplain, I see amazing beauty every day in some of the most sad and tragic circumstances. The moments of beauty within the trauma, the holding of a hand, the wiping of a tear. And there can even be something spiritually beautiful in someone taking their last breath, strange as that sounds. I saw a moment of beauty with my own father dying. He was unconscious, but he lifted his hand for me to hold, and with the other hand pointed to the door. I told him I loved him and that I would be back in the morning, but if he wanted to be with Mum, that was fine too. I kissed his forehead, knowing that when I leave the room, he would pass. He died 10 minutes after I left. I see it and I felt God's presence in those times. I have had families, non-religious or believing families, stand at the bedside and witness a love and compassion in their darkest hour that they can't put into words. I know that because they tell me daily. So don't suffer alone. Don't grieve alone. Everyone here, in one way or another, has tasted pain, may have experienced a pain and loss not unlike yours. Our sadness today is shared. So whether you are a staff member, whether you're a relative of someone who has died, whether you have a faith, a spirituality, or whether you don't believe anything and you are simply here to remember a loved one or a friend, please don't suffer or grieve alone. Surround yourself with friends and loved ones. And whether you have a faith or not, invite God to join you in your suffering and loneliness. Often, we may feel our big question of why hasn't been listened to, let alone answered. So if there is one thing I want you to take away today, it's simply, you are not alone. After today's service, there's going to be people available to stand at the side of the piano. If you do want to go and talk to somebody or have a chat with somebody, then please do make your way to the piano after the service. I'd like to invite Grace up now.
I'm just going to take a moment to read a poem to you all. And after I've read this poem, we'll have the visual tribute on the screen. I just want to take this opportunity to thank those of you that were able to respond with photos and images of your loved ones. We were using those in the presentations before and we'll do so again after the service. But for the purpose of the service, we will use the visual tributes for the names only. And at any time, whether it's during the visual tributes or after the service, we ask you to just light your candle and then place them back within the hearts that have been shaped out of candles at the back of the room as your way of just remembering that loved one and lighting a candle for them. I know for some that is within your own tradition. If it isn't and you just want to take the candle home with you, please feel free to do that as well. We will remember you. As we sit and reflect for a moment or two, we think of the memories created with each of you. Today we remember all the lives that have been touched, those you saved, which means so much. Your loved ones and colleagues who join us today all wish you were here for just one more day. We think of your kindness, your compassion, your love and special care, remembering with fondness the stories you used to share. We consider all the memories, reminisce with a tear, wishing you were with us so we could hold you dear. Life is a gift that is precious, this we know to be true, and we will make every effort to leave an impression just like you. Ope will now play for us as we watch the visual tribute. Giuseppe Lefuanza, Caroline Knight, Americ Batamra, Oluwesin Ortega, Esther Egbon, Denise Clark. Chanjit Bamota. Trevor Correa. Claire Roberts. Diliana Fermin. Elsie Oreba Orbamahe. Sarabanu Karim. David Koya. Tarlok Singh. Leslie McMillan. Zoe Taylor. Margaret Weaver. Paul Day. Mary Ammon. Nicholas Lever. Eugenio Domingo. Jamini Amin. Ademola Adubade. Carol Filtness. Rosemary Wilson. Liam Costales. Mandy Isley. Rebecca Deeney. Eunice Adeyemi. Claire Eaton White. Rachel Arena. Patricia Safety. Peter Cleary. Maria Chingzena. Edward Elcock. Lorraine Marsland. Rosemary Makota. And John Stack. Let's give them all a round of applause.
Thank you, Grace. And you also took my notes with you, so that's fine. We've come to the end of our service. There is plenty of tea and coffee, and I really encourage you to share your stories of your loved ones and your work colleagues with each other for the next 20 minutes or so. Someone once said to me, very wisely, grief isn't a problem to solve. It's a process we go through and we continue to go through. So thank you for coming. I'd like to thank the Trust for allowing us to use this marquee here today. Hopefully this will be the start of an annual or biannual event that we will do. I'd like to thank the sound guys, whose name I've already forgotten. So give James a round of applause, please, and the sound guys. It was being streamed, so the team that are doing the streaming over there, and for Oppie, who plays the piano beautifully. Robbie, can you continue to play for a little while longer while people just get their thoughts together and get themselves a refreshment? So, most importantly, thank you for coming to share with us the thoughts of your loved ones. Thank you. Good night.